We're talking little pucks now. Bill Meltzer from the Flyers website joins us here on 97.3 ESPN as they get ready for an interesting weekend, Pete Thompson. They got Tampa, first place Tampa.
That's correct.
And Florida on a Saturday, Sunday, back-to-back. Bill, welcome back to the show.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
We're doing good, and Saturday, Sunday, this is you got this Florida little swing here. Two important games for the Flyers because every point now in every game where they are in the standings, we know the difference between first place in the Metro and second place really changes the dynamics for your playoff matchup.
Oh, absolutely it does. I mean, if you finish first, and with all due respect to the New Jersey Devils or I guess or Columbus if they were to beat them out, but, you know, it's much more favorable to play them in the first round with home ice and to have the Capitals play the Penguins and, you know, one will eliminate the other in the first round than to have to play one of those two teams in the first round. If you're second, you have home ice, but that's not a huge edge in this day and age. Absolutely, it would benefit the Flyers tremendously to finish first. And I agree that this is a very difficult stretch of games here. 3 and 4 is difficult anyway. Tampa is probably the best team in the NHL right now. Florida's been red hot, and you're playing 3 times in less than 4 nights, so it's tough. It's definitely going to be a challenge.
Bill, I'll ask you because 4-1, and they didn't really seem to be in that game last night. Was there anything you saw in that game that you might say, I didn't like what I saw there, I'm a little concerned, or was it just one of those nights?
Well, I don't think there's too much reason to be concerned. I mean, the Flyers had been on a 12-game point streak, and they'd been finding ways to win games. I think the thing that I found concerning just a little bit was that, Carolina was playing 5 men back. They were playing really an old-school trap, and the Flyers didn't handle it very well at all. Look at the way they got outshot in those first 2 periods. They didn't get anything going at all until that little push early in the third where they scored and then almost scored again. And you can't win in this league playing only 20 minutes. So that's that was a little disappointing. The Flyers have built a little bit of a cushion for themselves, so they could absorb that one loss. And everybody else in the division, obviously other than Carolina, also lost last night. So they didn't lose any ground, but that was a game where the Flyers really could have buried Carolina a little bit, taken over first place again, and I think you would have liked to have seen, maybe if Cam Ward steals the game, you understand a little bit more than pretty lackluster game last night, all in all, for sure.
Was Brandon Manning a guy that struggled to you last night, Bill?
Manning had a rough game, last night. Bill Clement made the point during the broadcast that he thought Manning actually wasn't in bad position on the first goal, but I think it would have been a little bit easier if he was facing Justin Williams or maybe cancel out his stick. He also had a scoring opportunity the other end that didn't come even close. Brandon Manning will have those kind of games. I mean, let's be honest. He's a third pairing defenseman, and Brandon has some nights where where he'll struggle on either side of the puck. But the thing that the Flyers like about him is that he's a guy who, very, very high competitive level, and that he'll go out next time, and good or bad, he won't let the bad last game shake him. But it was a rough night for him. It's also going to be interesting to see when they get Johnny Oduya in the lineup because they have to do that at some point.
Right. He did show up today. That was going to be my next question. The visa issues are resolved. He's going to be on the trip. How do you think he factors in?
Well, Oduya's a solid veteran defenseman. I was actually a little bit caught off guard when Ottawa simply chose to waive him, simply because he's a guy who, I think maybe not a high-end draft pick, but I thought they could have gotten something for him. He's always been a mobile defenseman. He defends pretty well. And he's a guy with 2 Stanley Cup rings to his credit. And when you come to the stretch drive in the playoff run, it's such an emotional roller coaster at times that to have a veteran guy like that, even in the supporting role, could be beneficial. So even though he's kind of a bit player at this stage of his career, you can't argue with not having to give up anything, a prospect to pick or anything to pick up a veteran like that for the roster. So it was an astute pickup at this point of the season.
Hey, Bill, now that we've seen Mrazek play, a couple of games, 4 games now, What do you like about him, and what does he add? We've had, some people suggest that Mrázek is actually giving them a better, goaltending at this stage of the season than they had when they had Neuvert or Elliott in there.
Well, it's such a small sample size that I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. A goalie can run hot and Mrazek's history has been that he can get hot for a while. He can steal you a game or two when he has to, and run a little bit hot and cold. Last night's game, I thought he was okay. He wasn't great. He wasn't terrible, but overall his body of work's been really solid so far. What I like about him is two things: his athleticism and his glove hand. They're both definitely above average, and his puck handling. He's a very, very aggressive puck handler for the most part. He gets the job done, which, that's a big help in getting the puck out of the zone, up the ice, and saving some wear and tear on your defenseman too. And that's been I think an area where he's made kind of an immediate impact. Going forward, we'll see how he keeps playing because, listen, he's going to be tested in Tampa Bay tomorrow, and it'll be the Flyers are looking to see a big game out of him. They're probably going to need an A game from him to win, to be very honest.
Bill Meltzer with us from PhiladelphiaFlyers.com. Bill, I saw Bob McKenzie the other day talk about the Flyers maybe didn't make a big move at the trade deadline, but getting Wayne Simmonds back when he does come back could almost be like a boost or a jolt to the team. What's the latest on Wayne Simmonds, and when do you think he'll be back?
Yeah, Wayne practiced today with the team. His first full practice with the team. He's supposed to be back sometime next week. It would be obviously ideal if he could be back for next Wednesday's game against the Penguins. If he's not back for that, he might be game against the Bruins the next night. But he's not too far away at all. And obviously he'd be a big addition to the lineup. And quite frankly, I think Oscar Lindblom, though he doesn't have a point yet, has been outstanding in his 5 games so far. He's fit right in. So you add Simmonds back in there, and it makes the lineup that much deeper. Whether Simmonds jumps back onto the line with Nolan Patrick, or maybe he plays on Scott Laughton's line in the first power play unit. But it definitely adds another dimension to the attack.
Flyers again this weekend, back-to-back Saturday and Sunday. You can listen to both games right here on 97.3 ESPN. Bill Meltzer from the Flyers website, and he joins us here on the Sports Bash as the Flyers lose last night 4-1, right back into action against Tampa on Saturday. Thanks, Bill.
Anytime, guys.